Hi, welcome to my channel. My name's Jolie, and I'm an astrologer, and this is my very first video on astrology. So bear with me, and here we go. Today, I was going to talk about a few things. Number one, the fact that it's summer solstice. It's June 20th, and it's the longest day of the year. So I don't know about you, but I slept in today. So I figured, well, there's enough daylight for me to do so. Plus, when you work a lot and you want to just be able to have that time to just regenerate, it feels good to sleep in sometimes. So why not sleep in when you have the longest day of the year? Or I've seen where people, they get up really early so that they can really experience the whole day. I think that that's, whatever is your cup of tea or whatever's in your planetary alignments, just go with that. Just being present with who you are. That's what I'm going to really focus on, being present with how you're feeling, so that you can see how the planetary aspects and transits included with your natal chart show up for you, so that you can start to, if you already don't, trust yourself and how you're feeling, and then finding out through the power of astrology to add that little bit of understanding that there are powers greater than ourselves at work, that we can work with them um, in states of recovery and finding out who we are. I'm finding that working with your higher power is truly magnificent. There's a lot of promises that could come through that. Like, for instance, you'll intuitively know how to handle things in situations that may have baffled you in the past. So, learning who we are through mistakes and things that we've made, little mishaps throughout our life, we can see patterns, and astrology also will show you your patterns depending on your the planets and where they are in your chart. If you know your if you know your birth time, you can know the houses by which houses, meaning in the wheel of the chart, where exactly things will be more activated, especially with the transiting planets as present moment as we are today. Today being June 20th, it's a good day to start because the energies and gears are changing. There's shifts with clicks, like the locks are opening a different door from the Gemini season to the Cancer season. And that's Western tropical astrology. So that's what I use. And I also have a great appreciation for the sidereal astrology, which is where if you were to actually see where the planets are in the heavens, like there are these great apps that show you where the planets are. Let me see if I can see what it's called. They're really beautiful too. You can see like Sky View and Sky Guide. If you those are interesting apps where you download them on your phone, and then you can just like turn them on, and then you can like look around you in the sky, whether it's day or night, to see where planets are and what constellations they are in. So that's a fun little tidbit that I've found if you are obviously interested in astrology, if you're watching this. So yeah, there's also like a lot of nice quiet moments that are going to be at hand, with Mercury still in retrograde until the 22nd. We are revisiting a lot of the things where it can be having extra mindfulness about like getting some communications done, like dotting the I's and crossing the T's, rechecking the way that we communicate, whether that's by writing or, absorbing information also, how, and wherever your Mercury is in your natal chart will give you the flavor of what your communication style is. Now, you can also be born with Mercury retrograde. So, for instance, that's how, like, my Mercury was retrograde when I was born. And that could easily be because it happens at least 4 times a year. So when Mercury goes retrograde, I'm like, finally, I'll get a little extra time to do the things I need to get done. And because I'm always like going forward, as I'm sure most all of you are doing as well. But Mercury retrograde, those are times when you want to just make sure, like, for instance, if you're going to be signing any legal documents or things like that, you just want to make sure you're checking everything, because there's so many things that are out of our control. What we're in control of is the way that we handle things, the way we perceive things. But there's like the outside people, places, and things that we have no control over. And so what we can do is, like, if you're going to be signing a document, for instance, that's going to be, something where you're connecting with other people who are responsible for creating this document. So you want to make sure that they, did all the work that they said they'll do, because, we're all under the same movements and transits of the planets, and wherever their transits are going to be different than yours, right? Depending on the housing. So you need to know your date of birth in order to get a chart done. You need to know the place that you were born, and you need to know basically, if you can know the time that you're born. A lot of us don't know that. Like, for instance, it is not on my birth certificate. And my mom, when I asked her, she's like, well, it was after lunch. Well, what time is lunch? Sometimes people eat lunch at 11. Sometimes people eat lunch at 2. So, right? And plus she was under anesthesia. Like, I was pulled out with the forceps. I'm in my 50s, so I'm sure some of you who are in the same age group were like, how did my mom have a baby when she was sleeping? Like, anyone who's ever had their own children, like, I don't know how that happens, otherwise. Well, let's stay on course here. So let me just go over, like, for instance, the sun is moving into Cancer on the later part of June 20th, which we are in, summer solstice, like I said, in the Northern Hemisphere. And we're going to be in a more receptive, more feeling, intuitive time. It's the first sign that has water, which is Cancer is a water sign. So it's the first sign, and it has that feelings. How do I feel? And it's Cancer also rules, well, the moon rules Cancer, right? So the moon is about water, like this, how the tides go in and out. The water is our body. Our bodies are made of water. So it is the first sign where there's memory of feelings. There's sentimental things happening, if you can relate to that. And you can ask yourself these questions, or these questions will be asked of you from your higher powers. Like, what do I need to be myself? And who am I? How do I feel? And so that you can feel with your whole body. You can think about how you feel in the mind, right? But you can also work on that presence. Like, how does my body really feel? And then when we have our feelings that we aren't aware of, a lot of, like, most humans are like 90% unconscious of how they're really feeling. We're unless you're a child. You know right away how you're feeling. But when we become adults, there's that conditioning and the way that we grew up that kind of covers that. And so like you can tell how you're feeling, like say if you have certain illnesses or sicknesses within your body, there are spiritual guidelines to how that's connected to your feelings. So if you have any questions about that, you can look that up. For instance, like, so you have like, maybe you have problems, issues with your back, your lower right hand back, or your feet, like, or you have neck issues, or you have, you know, right in your solar plexus, maybe you have like acid reflux. So those are signals of how you're actually feeling, because those are like locked up feelings that are manifesting in your body and trying to give you signs this way. So what else is happening is Mercury that we were talking about is going to be going direct on the 22nd. So all of the things that you wanted to study, accumulate, gather information, is a good time to do that in a retrograde state. Now on the 22nd, which is only in a few days, everything's going to start to be, it'll first, before it goes direct, it just, you know, it's going in reverse, or it appears that it's going in reverse. They call it retrograde because it has the appearance of it going backwards. It's not actually going backwards, but it appears so in the sky. So what happens then spiritually is then when it goes direct, there's this time of stop. So this is where we're very present. We're very present. And so I would like for you to start to notice that. So, right? So say right on the 22nd, which is in a few days. Today is Sunday. So, so Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday-ish, you'll be feeling this, you know, maybe there's no forward action and there's no more study, right? But there's this presence of this open air, kind of like free falling, kind of like, okay, I'm here and it's quiet for one, you know, for a day or so. So this is where you can stop and take a breath before you go forward, before you use the information, before you communicate your information, and mindfulness. It's very supportive and being present and grounded in this time, in this week. Okay, so let's move on to another transit aspect, which is which I love, is Jupiter. Who doesn't love Jupiter? Well, Jupiter, let me explain to you a little bit about Jupiter. Jupiter is this lucky, benevolent planet, right? It's the largest planet, right? And it symbolizes this review. Let's see. Well, right now it's 2 degrees retrograde. So that's another thing in Pisces. So it's asking us to make the quest for the big why of why, like what's our purpose? So we're in this session where it's in Pisces. It's at 2 degrees Pisces and it's retrograde. So it's like learning, experiencing, plus it's in its own sign, right? It's in this, it's Neptune also shares with Pisces, but we're talking about Jupiter here. So we're learning the lesson of ease and connection to the divine, and that being in Pisces. Pisces is also compassion, creativity, and spirituality. So Jupiter here, it's going to be here through October 18th. And the other questions that it's going to be solving, these things for you, is what is the ultimate truth, and deepening with this, it'll be deepening that for you as this uncertainty of the world is around us. So we'll be asking these questions to ourselves and then working on solving that through the spiritual, creative, and compassion for ourselves and others. So it's just this really beautiful time. It'll be in October. So Jupiter is going to be going in October. It's going to be moving towards Aquarius again. So we'll talk about that later. But right now, we'll just ask the question of the big why for ourselves, and also, like I said, finding that ultimate truth. And it's a very lucky and wonderful placement. And just to keep that in mind when you are, meditating and being present with yourself. So it's like, just be easy, because it's working really nicely with the Mercury retrograde for the next couple days. And then you'll be able to open that line of communication a little bit further. So it'll be closer to you. And so what else is going on? Like there's an opportunity to check in and hear what is coming through. I'll repeat that because I know with the Mercury retrograde, and then it's going direct along with Jupiter. The mind, body, and spirit, all these energy domains are working together. Now, I'm going to go ahead and share with you the chart, the current chart for today. And let me see if I can do that. This is my first time doing that. So let's see if that's, so hopefully I am sharing the screen, and you can maybe hopefully see my little cursor arrow here. So today's chart, you can see that there is a huge red square in the heaven. So yes, there is some tension in the air, especially that it's also Father's Day. Father's Day is a lot of triggers for many of us humans on this planet. Maybe we had a lot of expectations for our fathers, or we have memories of Father's Day, or such, and we have that conflict. There's some conflict with Mars square with the moon. The moon is currently in Scorpio, and that being the moon in Scorpio is a very sensitive, intense placement for the moon. The moon only stays in a sign for 2.5 days. So it just it's in 6 degrees. So it'll be here for a few more 24 plus hours here. And then it'll move on to Sagittarius. And but today and tomorrow, the moon will be in Scorpio. So Scorpio also, as it is so sensitive, it's also very intense and loyal. And it also deals with death and also with renewal, the change that is bound to happen from this powerful sign, how we feel, how maybe we're going to be really strongly changing how we feel. Along with these squares that we see here, there's also this beautiful triangle that's in the sky. It's called a trine, and the trine is from the moon to the sun and here to Jupiter. So it goes all the way back up. So as this trine, it's like showing that there's also this beautiful ease in the heavens, and it's beautiful that the sun being our soul, and then you have Jupiter with this benevolent gifts that offering with the spiritual compassion aspect that it's in Pisces. It gives us a place where we can feel and reflect our soul's purpose, and also whatever is related to that fathering aspect to our day. The moon will change, so this trine will only be here for the next day or so, and but just to go ahead and be able to reflect on, so that you can benefit yourself by working on yourself and forgiveness. Maybe if you're in a 12-step program, you can also do some writing that can show you where the resentments are and how it affected you, and then what's your part in it, so that you can really truly learn how to let go and see what your patterns are regarding that fatherly aspect. Whether that's if you repeat that during with the fact that you can repeat that pattern of wounds. You can have compassion now to understand that you don't have to necessarily keep repeating that in a way that's harmful to you. You can repeat that pattern, that it's benevolent and good and lucky for you. So you can have a grateful heart. And so let me move on. And really grateful that you're here. I'll go ahead and I'm going to be talking about Mars. So Mars here is showing some oppositions today, as well as squares. So Mars today in Leo is showing some aspects that are challenging. So love as a challenge. It's very strong, driven and proud, charismatic, lots of ambition here with it being in Leo. It's going to be in Leo until July 29th. So, and there'll also be, the square will change for the moon. So we won't be driven maybe by an anger, emotional outburst that maybe we had today or tomorrow. So maybe that happened with some of us where we were getting triggered by some of those past emotions of Father's Day or something or other like that. And so, right, let's see. Yeah, it's a good aspect for career and love. It's a good aspect. There is some opposition here with Pluto. So maybe there's going to be a change in your relationships that is inevitable, depending on maybe it's the Pluto being in Capricorn. It could be a change in your work, in what you do for a living, and how you are seen in your career of the world. So Pluto is also in retrograde, so there may be some thinking on that. How is this going to happen? Or it will just happen on its own, and maybe you're even out of work at this point. But there is an opportunity to change because it's going to happen whether you want it to or not. And you can work on that being a good change by working on that yourself, or just going to do it on its own. Let's put it that way. There's also this aspect here where, because that's going to be here for at least until, like I said, July 29th. So I would just say get on the horse and start riding it and have fun. Find a way to have fun with the change, and maybe it's something you can that you've done for on the side. And you can have some energy now to have fun and put it out there in the world. So let's move on to another aspect that I think is interesting. That's going to be, so for instance, here we have lovely, wonderful Aquarius holding on to Saturn. Saturn's retrograde also. So we have these all these aspects right now. With Pluto being retrograde, and Saturn also is retrograde. It's in Aquarius. So that's also like, a challenge in our career. The way that the government is. The outside planets are things that are out of our control. Basically, the inward planets such as Venus and Mercury, Sun, and Mars and Moon, of course, are the inner planets. They represent the body, mind, and spirit of who we are. And then the outward planets are our higher powers, the things that are out of our control. Yet if we go along with the rules of certain planets, then we will be working with our higher power per se. So our higher power here of Saturn controls career and government, managers, landlords, people who have rulership, some type of rulership, banking systems, things like that, that sort of make sure that we do what we need to do, or else basically we will feel it for sure. Like even marriage, some people have because marriage is governed by another. You have both of you working together, and then there's also the law. There's laws that rule and govern that as well. So it could be work, it could be marriage, it could be some things like that. Because when we have Saturn return, and if you're looking to have a reading, I would love to do that with you. Right now, I'm presently doing. I'm offering readings on Zoom, 30 minutes for $30. And I will go over where the transits are happening in your life during the time that we have our reading, and then also talk to you about your natal placements to see what your patterns are. So like when you hit the age of 30, there's something called the Saturn return. So that will show you your main stay of pattern. What is that going to be focused on in your life? So for instance, if you've had a divorce when you're 30, then it will show you that your mainstay of pattern is going to be based on relationship. And or if you had you started a new business when you were 30, then your mainstay of patterning will be geared towards business. And then it doesn't mean that you're not going to have a relationship or marriage if your pattern is struck as that way, or it won't mean that you're not going to have a business or work job if you have your pattern based on relationships. So there's a balance we have in life, but and then your housing depends on that. So I would really love to talk to you guys about that. Astrology is just this wonderful way to it's a language, and it has all these different symbols and ways of answering questions. We can answer questions that you would have, for instance, about life and timing. I can look up your timing with this method where we look up in this, it's called the ephemeris. So we can look up like dates and times if you're looking to do something, maybe get married, or you have a certain date and time that you wanted to look back into and then see what was happening in your chart at that time. So those are always interesting to see, if there's big life lessons, that what the planets look like, so that we can see how they are compared to where you are now. Plus also looking at where you live. Where you live, that's another type of astrology that I love to look into, and that will tell you what different planets are highlighted and can help in your career, love life, all those different things. So to see where you live now and where you would like to live, or possibly where you would move in order to have some more luck for your needs, for the way that you want to live your life, the dreams that you have. Where would that be? So I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing this real quick here so we can talk. So hello again. So yeah, I just wanted to talk about like the main idea is for this week is connection with certainty. They're within these loud messages from our higher power. Like there's this waiting encouragement that that your higher power has, and will be able to speak to if you are able to be in present moment and work with the planets that you have, and then the transits and where they're at. So I was going to do something really. Let's do this this tarot reading real quick. So I use this Visconti deck. It's I found these cards. I love them because the gold, they're really beautiful gold. And but this was the original deck during a party in the ancient times of Italy. And when I was doing study about the tarot, I thought, oh, so when I saw these cards, I was like, oh my gosh, give me these cards. Let me go. So they're my card of choice. All right, so let's see. What's a good question for today is like, what do we need to be ourselves? Since Cancer, to be more receptive, to honor the sentimental feelings that we're having, and going into the next few days where there's going to be a full moon. Full moon is going to be 3 degrees of Sagittarius, no, excuse me, of Capricorn. So forgive me for that. Capricorn, 3 degrees. Do you know where 3 degrees Capricorn is in your chart? If not, you can look up. There's you can go online to Astro.com. So they will, and then you can plug in your information and it'll show you where it is in your chart. And if you would like to book a reading with me so that I can explain that to you, I would love that. Like I said, $30 for 30 minutes. And I'll put my email in the description. So this way you can reach me, and I would love to do your chart. We can do live on Zoom, or we can, if you're local, we can do it live, or I can do a yearly for you if you would like. That will be on a video. So, all right, so here we go. What do we need to be ourselves? And so this will be past, present, and future. So the first card will be past. So what do we need to be ourselves? And for the big question of why, and that truth, that ultimate truth of who we are. So, all right, so cut the deck one more time, and one more time. Past, present, future. All right. Ready? All right, here we go. All right, so the past, judgment. You can see this, it's very sparkly. So judgment of ourselves, others' judgment of us. That is the past. Past. All right, present. What do we have? The Empress. The Empress. The Empress. So she is, yeah, she's the queen of the day. So the Empress is basically, she is present, she's benevolent, and she is also, she gives us gifts of being like that Venus, being happy and self-love. Especially with Sun in Cancer, being receptive, that mothering aspect, the moon ruling now that the moon is in Scorpio. You know, so with the judgment in the past, and the Empress is present. So hold on to that higher power of that feminine energy that the Sun in Cancer gives us. So that softness and that honor of creativity, right? And feeling our feelings. And it's okay not to be okay all the time. So, and then this is going to be the future. And we have the Hierophant. Okay, so the Hierophant to me right now is showing that with these retrogrades, we're going to review and learn with compassion and creativity and spirituality. So this is going to be through with Jupiter in Pisces retrograde, the Hierophant, along with Mercury uh, in giving us more mindfulness, saying, "Am I forgetting anything?" Being very supportive and processing. So I think that that's a great. It really supports the reading today with the chart, and I wanted to show you this little extra thing that I do. This is my pendulum. I use many different things as a pendulum, but this is a moonstone. You can see how beautiful this moonstone is. So I'm going to ask it to charge us with positive energy. And so ask it for a yes. And so ask it to start spinning here. So go ahead and start spinning with the yes. Charge us with positive energy, connection to our higher power, the summer solstice today. Summer solstice energy. Raise it up so you can see it. Put it in front of my face. So, okay, charge it with the positive energy. Have you ever seen such a beautiful stone? Okay, moonstone. There we go. Okay. Interesting, right? You're so beautiful. Isn't she beautiful? So I can teach you how to do that. It's really basically easy. You just have to believe it. I think that's all. And work with the pendulum. Can really use even if you have a necklace hanging, as long as it has a weight at the end that it's pretty heavy. And then you just ask it for yes and ask it for no, and it'll switch gears. So my yeses go like this, and you saw that. So that charges us with positive energy for this reading to end it today. So we'll go ahead and do a little meditation prayer that I always do at the end of my other series videos. And you can check those out. I teach, I'm teaching myself so that I'm reaching out. I'm sharing that basically with you is A Course in Miracles. And so let's see, what was the lesson today was, let me recognize the problem so it can be solved. We have to recognize what the problems are so that they can be solved, right? Otherwise, we also have to be in reality of what they are. So we can just like, okay, what are they? So this way I know what to do, in a real reasonable, conscious way. And I think being conscious, especially with today's, with the sun going into Cancer, is perfect, where it's we're keeping present with our emotions and our feelings, and yes, feeling those deep emotions with the moon in Scorpio today. And what's wonderful about the moon is that it just constantly changes. It's constantly changing, and as do we. Our emotions constantly change, and we're able uh, to have some emotional stability within ourselves when we do work on ourselves, right? And that just goes by one day at a time, and work with our higher power. So here we go. God grant us the serenity to accept the things we cannot change, the courage to change the things we can, and the wisdom to know the difference. So God's will be done. Our higher power is here with us. And I will see you next week. And I will put my email in the comments. So if you'd like a reading, I'm offering them right now at a really nice rate so that I can start to get to know you and you can start to get to know yourself. Right? So we're here together making connections. So I'll see you and thank you. And